I got a mysterious package from my ex. The contents left me speechless. I never expected to hear from her again. It had been over a year since I broke up with my ex, Lila. After everything that happened, I thought she'd disappear from my life forever. But then, one day, a package showed up at my door. No return address, just my name, written in her handwriting. I thought it was a mistake at first. I wasn't ready to face the past, not yet. But something told me I had to open it, and when I did, I wish I hadn't. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when the knock at the door startled me. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, there it was, an unmarked plain brown package sitting on the doorstep. My heart raced when I saw that the return address was blank. But then, I saw the handwriting. That unmistakable cursive I'd once seen on dozens of love letters. It was Lila's handwriting. I stared at the package for what felt like an eternity. Part of me wanted to leave it there and forget it existed. But I couldn't. I had to know what was inside. The moment I cut through the tape and opened the box, I found something that stopped me in my tracks. Inside the package, I found an old, dusty notebook. It was small, leather-bound, and worn around the edges, like it had been through a lot. I ran my fingers over the cover, feeling the familiar texture. This wasn't just any notebook. It was the one Lila had kept during the time we were together. I couldn't believe she still had it. The notebook had been filled with our memories, the late-night conversations, our inside jokes, dreams for the future, and, of course, the things that went wrong. As I flipped it open, I was hit with a wave of nostalgia, followed by a rush of dread. There were pages and pages of writing. Most of it was in her neat handwriting, but some of the pages had scribbled notes, things I had never seen before. In the back of my mind, I wondered why she had sent this to me after all this time. It didn't make sense. What was she trying to do? And then I saw it, something new written in bold letters on the last page. I was never truly honest with you, and I regret it every day. The truth will come out when you're ready to face it. I felt a chill run down my spine. What truth? What had she been hiding? The words on the last page lingered in my mind. The truth will come out when you're ready to face it. What truth? What was she talking about? I quickly flipped through the rest of the notebook, but nothing seemed out of place. It was just memories, our first date, the trips we took together, all the moments I thought were perfect. But that last message? That changed everything. It was like a shadow hanging over the pages. I couldn't just sit there, not knowing what she meant. I grabbed my phone and stared at the screen for a few moments, unsure whether to reach out to her. But deep down, I knew I had to know. I had to get answers. I dialed her number, my heart racing. It rang a few times before going to voicemail. I hung up, disappointed, but not surprised. Lila had always been someone who didn't like confronting things head on. I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Why now? Why was she sending this after all this time? What was the truth she couldn't tell me back then? I paced around the living room, gripping the notebook tightly in my hands. It felt like a clue to something bigger, but I had no idea where it would lead. After putting my phone down, I sat back down on the couch, clutching the notebook tightly. The more I thought about the message, the more I felt like I was sinking into a rabbit hole I wasn't sure I wanted to explore. What was the truth that Lila couldn't tell me? And why did she choose now, of all times, to send this cryptic package? I needed answers, but I knew I couldn't get them from her directly. I thought about all the times we'd talked, times when we'd been open, when we trusted each other. But there were also the things we never addressed, the silence between us that I'd tried to ignore. I pulled out my laptop and started searching through old emails and messages, anything that might give me a hint about why she had sent this package. As I went through the files, I stumbled upon a message from years ago, one I had almost forgotten about. It was from a mutual friend, Mia. She was the one who had told me that Lila was going through something before our breakup. At the time, I brushed it off as nothing, but now, reading between the lines, I wondered if Mia had known more than I thought. The email said, "Lila's been acting different lately. I don't think she's being honest with you, but I can't say more." I stared at the words, my mind racing. Could this be the thing Lila was trying to tell me? Could Mia have known about whatever Lila was hiding? The email from Mia kept replaying in my mind, the words echoing louder than before. I don't think she's being honest with you, but I can't say more. What was she hinting at? Why hadn't I questioned it back then? I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. All those little things that hadn't added up during our relationship started to make sense. The distance Lila had put between us, the secretive phone calls, the nights she'd been working late, and I'd never questioned. The signs were always there, I just refused to see them. And then I remembered a conversation we'd had shortly before we broke up. I had asked her if there was someone else. She'd denied it, of course. But what if she was lying? What if that someone else had been there all along, right under my nose? I glanced at the notebook again, flipping through the pages. I noticed something I hadn't seen before, a small note scribbled in the margin of one of the pages. "You'll find out soon. Just wait." My heart skipped a beat. It felt like the universe was pushing me towards something, like it was trying to force me to finally face whatever Lila had been hiding. But I wasn't sure if I was ready for the truth. If what I was beginning to suspect was true, it would shatter everything I thought I knew. Make sure to like the video and subscribe so you never miss more shocking and real stories like this one. The more I thought about the message in the notebook, the more I realized I couldn't avoid the truth anymore. I had to confront Lila. I had to know what was really going on, even if it hurt. But something held me back. The fear of what I might find. What if everything I thought was real was a lie? What if Lila had been hiding something far worse than I could have imagined? I knew I couldn't go on living in this uncertainty. I had to reach out to her, face to face. No more avoiding the issue. I picked up my phone, hands shaking, and sent her a message. "We need to talk now." The message sent, I waited. My heart was racing, and my mind was filled with endless possibilities of what could unfold. Would she be honest with me? Or would she lie again, just like before? I had no idea what to expect, but the silence felt like torture. Minutes passed. Then, finally, I got a reply. "Okay, where?" I typed back quickly. "My place now." When Lila showed up at my door, I could see the hesitation in her eyes. She didn't look surprised, but there was something guarded about her, like she knew this moment was inevitable, and she had no way of avoiding it. I invited her in, and we sat down in the living room. The tension in the room was palpable, and I could hardly bring myself to speak. The words I had rehearsed in my mind felt useless now. The anger, the confusion, and the hurt all mixed together in a storm, and I wasn't sure where to start. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but steady. "What's going on, Alex? Why are you acting like this?" I looked at her for a moment, searching for any sign of guilt or remorse, but she seemed oddly calm. Was this really happening? Was she really that unaffected? "Why did you lie to me, Lila?" I asked, the words finally slipping out. "Why did you hide everything? The phone calls, the late nights? Why didn't you tell me the truth?" Her eyes flickered for a moment, and for the first time I saw a crack in her facade. But instead of confessing, she sighed and looked away. "I didn't want to hurt you, Alex. I was scared." "Scared? Scared of what?" "You're not the only one who's been hurt here," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "You're not the only one who's been lied to." Lila's gaze softened. "I know," she whispered, "but it wasn't like that. It wasn't what you think." That's when I asked the question I'd been dreading, the one that had been eating at me since the moment I saw the notebook. "Was it Ethan? Was he the one you were with all this time?" Her face turned pale. She didn't even try to deny it. Her silence said everything. Lila sat there, staring at her hands in her lap. I could see the weight of the words she hadn't said yet. The silence between us was deafening, thick with the tension of everything that had gone unsaid for so long. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My best friend? My girlfriend? The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt. After what felt like an eternity, she finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, it was Ethan. I froze, my heart sinking in my chest. My mind couldn't process the words. This wasn't supposed to happen. I never thought that the two people I trusted the most in the world would betray me like this. I didn't plan it, Alex. It just happened, Lila continued, her eyes meeting mine briefly before looking away. It started with something small, just a few moments of comfort, and then it grew. I never meant to hurt you. Never meant to hurt me? I echoed, my voice rising. How could you not? How could you think that this was okay? I stood up, pacing back and forth in front of her, trying to make sense of the situation, trying to control the anger that was threatening to boil over. You've been cheating on me with Ethan for God knows how long, and you tell me it just happened? Lila looked up at me, her eyes filled with tears, but I couldn't bring myself to feel sorry for her. I was confused, Alex. Ethan made me feel wanted. I didn't feel that way with you anymore. My chest tightened at her words. She wasn't just saying she was unhappy. She was saying that I wasn't enough for her. It hit harder than anything else. All the love, all the years we'd spent together. It had all been meaningless to her in the end. I thought we had something real, I said, the hurt in my voice impossible to hide. But apparently, I was just a placeholder. Alex, please, it wasn't like that, Lila pleaded, standing up to try and reach out to me. You have to understand. I was so caught up in everything. I wasn't thinking straight. I stepped back, shaking my head. No, Lila, you can't just not think straight and destroy everything. You don't get to do that. She paused, looking down at the floor, clearly struggling to find the right words. I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know how to tell you. I never wanted to lose you, but at the same time, I didn't know how to let go of Ethan. My heart shattered as the realization hit me. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a choice she had made, over and over again. And she was choosing Ethan. I felt numb. The emotions I had been holding in for what seemed like forever finally came crashing down on me. Betrayal, anger, heartbreak, all of it wrapped into one overwhelming wave. You didn't just cheat on me, Lila, I said, trying to steady my voice, but the pain in my chest was making it impossible. You threw away everything we had. And for what? For a guy who's supposed to be my best friend? Lila opened her mouth to say something, but I raised my hand to stop her. Don't try to justify it. Don't tell me it's my fault or that you're sorry. I don't want to hear it. You chose this and now you're going to have to deal with the consequences. I could see the guilt in her eyes, but it wasn't enough. I couldn't just let her off the hook like that. Not after everything. Not after what they had done to me. You think Ethan cares about you? You think he's going to stick around when the dust settles? I laughed bitterly. He doesn't care about you. He never did. He's always been selfish, just like he's always been with me. Lila flinched at my words, but I didn't care. The rage I felt was overwhelming. I had given her everything, my love, my trust, and my time, and she had thrown it all away. You want to know what's going to happen now, Leela? I asked, my voice quiet but firm. I'm done with you, and I'm done with him. I've wasted enough time on both of you. I grabbed the notebook that she had sent me earlier and tossed it onto the coffee table, staring at it like it was a foreign object. It was supposed to be a piece of our past, but now it was just a reminder of how naive I had been. I'll never be able to look at this the same way again, I muttered. This is it. This is where we part ways. Lila opened her mouth, but I wasn't interested in hearing anything she had to say. I turned my back to her and started walking toward the door, but before I could leave, she called out to me one last time. Alex, please. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Please, just... I didn't wait for her to finish. I walked out, shutting the door behind me. There was no going back now. The drive from my apartment felt like it took forever. I needed space, time to think, to process what had just happened. My mind kept flashing back to all the times I had trusted Lila, to all the moments when I thought we were building something real. But now, I couldn't help but wonder how much of it had been a lie. I pulled into the parking lot of a nearby park and sat there for a while, staring out the windshield. The air felt thick with tension, but there was a strange sense of clarity in the quiet. I didn't feel the rage anymore, just a profound sadness. It wasn't the type of sadness I'd expected. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't going to cry. I was just done. Done with the lies. Done with the people who pretended to care about me. I thought about Ethan. He had been my closest friend for years. We had shared everything, memories, laughter, struggles. And now, I felt like that bond had never been real. He was just another person who used me to get what he wanted. Just another person who didn't care about me at all. And Lila. She had been the person I had trusted most. The one I had imagined growing old with. To think that she could so easily betray me like this was a hard pill to swallow. But maybe this was for the best. Maybe this was the universe's way of showing me who she really was. I realized something in that moment. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about learning who I was and what I deserved. I deserved honesty. I deserved loyalty. I deserved someone who saw me as a partner, not a backup. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something new. It was a chance for me to rebuild, to focus on myself, and to move forward with my life. It's been a few days since the confrontation with Lila, and I've been doing my best to keep moving forward. As I sit here reflecting on everything, I feel both relieved and strangely proud of myself. The weight of the betrayal is still there, but it's not crushing me anymore. I feel stronger than I ever have. The hardest part, honestly, was coming to terms with how easily people I loved could lie to me. For years, I let myself believe that Lila and Ethan had my back, that they were my friends, my family. But when it mattered most, they both chose to lie, to deceive, and to hurt me. But as much as I've struggled with this, I can't help but feel a bit of gratitude, because in a weird way, I've learned more about myself in the last few days than I have in years. I've learned that I don't need anyone's approval to be happy. I don't need to keep holding on to people who don't respect me or value me for who I am. And for the first time in a long time, I'm focusing on me. I'm rediscovering things that used to make me happy, things I had neglected while I was wrapped up in that toxic relationship. I've been hitting the gym, spending time with family, and diving into work. The pain is still there, but it's starting to fade. I decided it was time to officially move on from Lila and Ethan. I cleared out all the stuff from our relationship. Photos, gifts, messages, everything. I didn't want to keep anything that reminded me of the person I thought Lila was. I didn't want any lingering connections that could hold me back. The next step, I knew, was to reach out to my real friends, the people who had been by my side all along, even when I didn't know it. I needed to surround myself with positivity and people who cared about me for who I was, not for what I could do for them. It's been a week since everything came to light, and honestly, I feel like a different person now. It's not that I've completely healed, but there's something about standing up for myself, calling out the people who betrayed me, and walking away from that toxic situation that has given me a sense of closure. The anger has faded, replaced by something calmer, something healthier, peace. It wasn't easy, but I've learned that letting go of people who don't treat you right is necessary for your growth. It's okay to outgrow people, to leave them behind when they no longer bring out the best in you. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm focused on myself now. I've started doing things for me that I haven't done in ages, whether it's getting back into my hobbies, hitting the gym, or just spending time with people who appreciate me. I've been thinking a lot about relationships too, not just romantic ones, but the friendships I've built over the years, the people who stick around, who support you no matter what. That's where my energy is going now. I'm more determined than ever to find people who respect me, who care about me for who I am, not for what they can take from me. I'm not sure what the future holds, but one thing I know for sure is that I won't be settling for anything less than real loyalty and honesty from now on. I'm stronger than I was before, and I'm ready to see what comes next. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, or if you've gone through something similar, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How did you cope with it? How did you move on? Your stories could help someone else who's struggling with the same thing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more real-life stories like this. Stay strong, and remember that you deserve nothing less than honesty and loyalty in every relationship.